What's up, y'all?
3 AC.
3 AC.
3's a crime.
3's a crime.
We're such dorks. So I'm Tori, and I work in an intellectual property law firm.
Wow. Super
It sounds-
fancy.
It sounds pretty fancy, doesn't it?
How long have you been doing that?
8 years with this company.
Oh my
that I'm with.
God.
8 years.
Did you do it before?
I did work for another patent law firm in the area, and I worked there for 3 years.
Wow. That's a lot of law.
That's a lot of law.
It's a lot of law,
It's
but
a lot.
it's a very niche kind of law. But
That's
yeah,
true.
so I have 3 dogs, one of whom Emily fostered for a little while.
Did I foster him?
I think you had him for a little bit, didn't you?
I don't know, honestly.
Because he was still with Scraps.
Yeah, I remember.
So yeah, so I have 3 dogs. So don't come to my house because they'll get you.
That is what we found with researching serial killers. Is
Mhm.
that if
They
you
really
have
don't like
dogs,
dogs.
they typically stay away.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and my dogs are nuts, which is why when my dogs are being assholes and barking and acting mad, I don't discourage them from doing so.
You're
I'm
like, yes,
yeah.
do
Well,
that.
no.
Do your
I had a
job.
guy once come to my door. He was trying to sell well, I didn't open the door, but the window was open and he kind of peeked in and I was like, "Can I help you?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm from such and such alarm company." And I was like, "As you can see, I'm good.
I'm fine, thank
I don't
you.
need an alarm company. I have assholes."
You have enough.
I have
Alarm.
assholes.
You have an alarm.
They let me
asshole.
know. They let me know when somebody's there.
We're gonna
Honestly,
have
for
to-
real, we all have dogs and I have a gun, so come at me. I'm looking into my microphone because I'm talking to everyone listening to this podcast
Yep.
right now.
Yeah.
Fucking
Come
come
at
at
me.
me. We are not the
No.
bitches you want to mess with, okay?
No.
No, I have
We're not.
very angry chihuahuas.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I was a sociology major both in college and in graduate school. I've just always been fascinated by kind of like what makes people tick and kind of the opposites,
Mhm.
right? So like I was always interested in the people that were the opposite of that. So what made Rosa Parks, say,
Yeah,
fuck
step
you,
away
I'm
from
not
her.
moving, or Tank Man to stand in front of the
Yeah.
tank. And I think, this is kind of the opposite thing with serial killers is that they're so abnormal. My brain can't figure out,
You like
Yeah.
can't comprehend.
it can't comprehend the madness. And so I've always just been super fascinated. That's me.
I'm Lindsey. I
Lindsey.
have.
Hi.
I live with my husband and my mother. We have 3 chihuahuas and a cat. I have my own Etsy shop. I eventually want to do Reiki and art
Art therapy?
therapy. Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
Yes, and I learned that color therapy, and I think I want to learn about that.
Yes. Do you want to say the name of your Etsy shop?
Oh yeah, it's Perfectly Weird AF.
I love that. We
That's
can
nice.
post it in our Instagram too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I only have like
In the
one thing
bio.
up, but I'm slowly getting other stuff up as
Right.
it
Love
goes.
that.
Yeah.
And I loved psychology was my favorite in high school, and I only took one semester of
Sorry,
community college.
I don't know why I laughed like that. Because I also only did like a semester of community college. I'm sorry, just into my microphone.
I
Oh my
loved
God.
it. I love it. And I took psychology, and I just it's so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Well, and it's funny
God.
because I actually, going back to me because it's all about me.
Well, yeah. Our Leo.
when I was in my undergraduate, I actually, for the first 2 years of my 5-year college education, was a psych major. Abnormal psych was definitely my favorite class. And my abnormal psych teacher told us the story about how she was in the library when she was in graduate school. And she had gone to go get like a book or something off a shelf and came back and there was a note. And her shoes were gone. Like, 'cause she had kicked off her shoes in the library. And now some guy with a foot fetish was like, I'm sorry, but I had to take your shoes.
The fact that he wrote a note.
He wrote a note.
It's like crashing into someone's car and being like, really
Yeah.
sorry, I don't have insurance. I had to leave.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
have a foot fetish. I needed to take these.
I needed these shoes. But yeah, I was like 7 credits shy of a psych minor so I didn't end up doing that. But yeah, I had taken a psych class and there were not enough people signed up for it. So I had to take a sociology class to fill my course requirement or whatever. And then I was like, I like this better. Like, fuck the individual. I want to look at this bitch as a whole.
Yeah. My name is Emily.
She's the youngin' in the crowd.
I'm the youngin' in the crowd.
She's the sweet little babe.
I'm the sweet little babe.
I'm sorry, I can't even get through that with a straight face.
It's okay. I'm actually really sassy.
That's why we love you.
I know. I am married. I have 4 dogs. That's who keeps walking around here. Yeah, because of the freaking hardwood floors. So that's Mia. She's deaf.
Well, and that's, something we talked about before we started recording is that we all have multiple dogs. You're gonna hear some background noise in our podcast, and if you don't like it,
Fuck right off.
Yeah, you're gonna have to find a different one to listen to.
Good thing.
But I promise that we're gonna be entertaining enough.
We are entertaining.
We are entertaining.
So,
that but yeah, it'll be okay.
I'm a sales director in direct sales. Wow, that sounded real cool. Okay, it doesn't sound as cool if I can't say the name of the company, but I won't say it because it's probably not allowed to, but it does not start with an A, and it's 2 words. And
you have pink headphones
and
that
I
you
have
can
pink
use
headphones.
Yep.
for
And yeah.
So figure it out for yourself, folks.
Figure it out for yourself.
So Three's a Crime is going to be a true crime podcast. We will cover things like serial killers, missing persons.
Any kind of like ooky spooky. It's kind of like all encompassing of things that have really happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But some of them have answers and some of them don't.
And we're going to try once a month-ish to do a Pacific Northwest specific story.
We should call it the Specific Northwest.
The specific. That's perfect.
Specific Northwest murder story. The podcast was started because I was watching an episode of Disappeared and they mentioned the town where we live and they called it.
They said,
Scrappy Little
yes,
Town.
they said it's Spokane, a medium-sized town.
Known for its scrappy attitude.
Known for its scrappy attitude.
Scrappy attitude. And I got right on Snapchat and sent it to everyone and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then Tori messaged me and was like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, right? Seriously. And then made an offhand comment about starting a podcast. And my response was, don't start with me.
Yeah.
And she was like, bitch, don't start with me.
Yeah, it's true.
Here's the equipment we need to buy. I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, that was actually you. She's like, don't start with me. And then I'm like, hey, you have another friend that I talked about doing a podcast with. Do you care if we bring her in?
No, fucking ask
and you
her.
were like, absolutely not. Like, let's do it. And
I don't even know this girl.
And literally the end of the first day of even broaching the subject of do we want to do this, we had equipment ordered.
Everything purchased. And then Lindsey and I met.
For the first time.
We had never met or spoken or done anything. And so what? This whole entire turnaround, we have every single thing that we need. The whole turnaround was like a week and a half.
If it wasn't for you to push it, we wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, we probably would have just talked about it forever.
It's amazing.
So yeah, your youthful go-to energy
is
the catalyst, and
No.
I am the glue that brings this group together.
Yeah,
True.
exactly. I've always been into true crime, but it wasn't until the pandemic hit that I started doing all the house projects, and I was like, I don't want to listen to music. Like, I feel like I listen to music all the time. Yeah. And that's when I started listening to more podcasts, and I was like, oh my God, these are magical.
Yeah.
And I remember telling Michael, I was like, dude, I said we should do a podcast, but he's not into true crime. So I was like, I don't know what we do it on, but like, it would be really fun to do it.
Yeah.
So then as soon as you said it, I literally called Brittany and I was like, bitch, I have a podcast. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, have a conversation with 5 minutes ago. I don't know anything that's going on. But yeah.
There comes a time when you're hanging out with normal people and you're talking about murder and rape or, you know, hey, did you hear about this story? And people look at you and think that you're really bizarre. Yeah. When Emily said, like, oh, are you into that? I was like, bitch, I'm your people. Like,
yeah.
So
all my normal friends are getting real tired of me talking about weird shit.
So that's another reason for wanting to do the podcast is the ability to share these stories. And we should mention, so each week that we release a podcast, it's going to be told by one of us and be told to the other two. And so you'll get to hear our live reactions to the stories at the same time as you do.
Because most people hear like, you know, general, like what a true crime story is, but I feel like it's the details that you're like, holy fuck,
it's always the details.
Yeah, it's always in the details that you're like, what in the
what is happening?
Fucking hell?
Exactly.
And the other thing I wanted to say is when we had started this, Tori had made the point, because the episode of Disappeared that I was watching was obviously about a woman who had disappeared. And oh God, I think it was like 2011. She's been like missing for like 10 years and still hasn't been found. And whether she wants to be found or not, I don't know. But it would be interesting to be able, I like really believe that someone knows something about people who have disappeared, but they don't know that they know it until they find out. Do you know what I'm saying?
And we will be covering her story at a later date as well. So we will be doing that and, you know, putting up our, you know, the Crime Stoppers number if you have any information.
Is it called Crime Stoppers here, or is it the same?
Crime Check?
Is it
Crime Check?
Crime Check.
But it's the same idea.
I think
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like non-emergent, but I know some information about something that happened. Cool. Thanks for listening to this week's episode. We put out new episodes every single Wednesday, and if you're impatient like me, be sure to become a Patreon where you can get your episodes early each week. For as little as $5 a month, you not only significantly support the production of this podcast, but you'll also get ad-free episodes in addition to them being early. For pictures, videos, and links related to this episode, be sure to check out our Instagram at 3sacrime. And for more information, go to 3sacrime.com.